Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Rico Vergara and this is the Box Talk. Now I just want to talk about how I haven't been in production of videos lately because I've been busy, I've been working and going to school lately. So I've been really tired, and plus boxing's been doing its thing. I mean, tonight, Saturday tonight, December the 7th, there's going to be a couple fights. It's going to be, off the top of my head of the names I know, Amir versus Joseph Biko, and it's going to be James Kirkland versus Johnny Tapia, I think. I'm not sure. And Arislandi versus Austin Trout. Now that's going to be a good fight. That should be main event. But I think it's Zab Judah versus Paulie Malignaggi. That's going to be main event. All those are good fights. But I'm not going to talk about one of those fights or any of those fights. I'm going to talk about a Floyd Mayweather possibly, most likely fighting Amir Khan. Now that fight, I've made a video about a prediction and if that fight were to be made, but now it seems like it's very possible that's going to happen, very probable actually. So I looked up online on Floyd Mayweather's BoxRec, and if you guys know what BoxRec is, it's basically the main place to go to look up someone's record and official wins and losses and all that. Also, they have scheduled dates for upcoming fights for fighters. So I went on Floyd Mayweather's and I saw under his name Floyd Mayweather's fighting Amir Khan on May 3rd, and usually they have stars to say how important or how popular this fight is going to be. And when Mayweather was fighting all of his other guys, it was like 5 stars. You know, he was fighting Robert Guerrero was 5 stars, Canelo Alvarez was definitely 5 stars, Oscar De La Hoya was 5 stars. But it's surprising now that Amir Khan's fighting him and it only has 4 stars. And I think that's sort of pretty fair to say accurate. Because Floyd Mayweather, I thought he was the kind of guy to go after big names. Robert Guerrero, he was a big name. Like, he was beating everybody that he fought. He only had 1 loss before fighting Floyd Mayweather, and that was early in his career, which he avenged. So he was a big name. Then he decided to fight Canelo Alvarez, who was one of the biggest names, and he, made a bunch of money off that fight. So I felt Mayweather was the kind of guy to go after the money fights, the fights that would make him the most money. And you might wonder, why hasn't he gone after Manny Pacquiao then? Well, most of the time I try to explain to people that it's a money issue. They can't agree upon how much of a percentage Mayweather or Pacquiao should take. And Mayweather's the type of guy who's a hard baller. He likes to take most of the percentage off of the deal. He likes the lion's share. While Pacquiao, he's like, at first when he was champion and hadn't lost to Timothy Bradley, he was like, well, I'm champion and I should get the lion's share. I'm challenging you, and you should be the challenger and make the challengers share, while I make the champion share, which is usually, let's say, 60-40 goes to the winner. And regardless, there's a certain amount that you make guaranteed. So none of them could agree on the amount that they would make. So the fight has not happened. Currently it has not happened. It could happen later in the future. Floyd Mayweather has 4 fights left in his Showtime contract, and possibly it could be Manny Pacquiao to fight him in one of these 4 fights. I think it's most likely that Floyd Mayweather will fight him on his last fight with Showtime. So Floyd Mayweather and Amir Khan. Floyd Mayweather is, as you all know, a great defensive boxer, if not the best of all time. Floyd Mayweather went to the Olympics and won bronze. A lot of people think it was a controversial loss he faced in the Olympics, not having won gold in the end. I think Floyd Mayweather has developed the perfect professional style of fighting when it comes to hit and not get hit. While Amir Khan is also a great amateur fighter, he went to the Olympics, won silver medalist, lost to a gold medalist Cuban whose name was Mario Kindlin, and he avenged his loss in one of the 3 fights that they had. So in a way, you could say Amir Khan is a gold medalist boxer, but his professional career, I have to say, is not up to par with his amateur career. His professional career, I think, shows and demonstrates how much talent Amir Khan, or not talent, but how much intellect in the professional game of boxing, the aspect of it, he is lacking, because again, boxing is hit and not get hit. And when you get to the professionals level, it's about be sure not to ever get hit and hit as hard as you can back. Because once you're amateur, you're looking for the knockout. And I think Amir Khan, he loses track of this. He has to realize that he's getting hit and his chin is not a great chin. It's not going I'm not going to say it's a glass chin because there's some dudes with glass chins, but his, when it comes down to him fighting those names like Danny Garcia, Maidana, Lamont Peterson, or even Adrian Broner, he's going to have to keep his hands up and learn some real defense and not stand toe to toe like a Mexican fighter does and try to hammer it out, because he's going to get caught like he got caught with first Brady's Prescott and second Danny Garcia. He does not want to get hit with one of those hooks again. He didn't even get hit clean on the chin with Danny Garcia. He got hit on the neck, and that's how hard Danny Garcia hit him. I mean, Danny Garcia's hook would have put down anybody, but it's just the way Amir Khan takes these punches that makes it so critical for him not to get hit. Amir Khan cannot recuperate from a hard hit like Danny Garcia's left hook. Amir Khan, he's a great amateur fighter, and he fights his fights like an amateur fighter would, but he adds a little bit more power now because of the type of gloves there are in the professional aspect of the sport. But Amir Khan tends to stay in there, throw as many combos as he can, and not realize that he's about to get hit from a punch that has not been telegraphed by his opponent, such as the one Danny Garcia landed on him. And the reason why I feel Danny Garcia won that fight was because he believed in himself. He was an undefeated fighter. He believed all the hype that his father had said about him, and he was not going to give up on himself easily like some opponents of Amir Khan do. Amir Khan might have been saying, yeah, he doesn't deserve to be in the ring with me. I'm way too better than him. And, you know, Amir Khan's starting to believe all this bullshit about him being the next Floyd Mayweather. By that, I mean pound for pound best fighter in the world. And, you know, since 2010 or 9, I feel Amir Khan's been saying he's going to clean up the welterweight division. And Danny Garcia, as we all know, is #1 right now in the welterweights, while Amir Khan is still bottom 4. Oh, well, you know, he's #4 when it comes down to the best welterweights right now. And he really hasn't been up to par with all the other top welterweights. In my list, Danny Garcia's #1. Maybe you could say Adrian Broner, and then Lucas Matisse, Maidana, and then you could say Amir Khan. I know those are just off the top of my head. I'm just trying to think of the welterweights that are in that specific weight category, which is 140, 143. So Amir Khan, he hasn't really done enough to fight Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, I don't understand why he's trying to give Amir Khan this opportunity, if indeed he has, because it's not official, I heard. BoxRec might be saying the fight's going to happen, but I've seen a lot of times BoxRec has actually recalled the fight and recalled fights, and fights have not been made even though BoxRec said they were scheduled for this date. So it's not official yet, that's all I'm saying. Floyd Mayweather, I think, would find out Amir Khan. I think it will be a tougher, more difficult chess match for Floyd Mayweather than previous fights, but I think ultimately Floyd Mayweather will do what he's best at, and that is figuring out your opponent and disabling them bit by bit as round goes by. So my prediction, and it's a very interesting one, I think Floyd Mayweather TKO in the late rounds, and that's because I feel Floyd Mayweather's best ability not only is his defense, but his accuracy. He will hit you. His accuracy is the best in the game right now. Guillermo Rigondeaux's could be considered second, and Andre Ward's one of them. And it always comes down to these gold medalist Olympic boxes. You know, Floyd Mayweather might be one, but I think if he hadn't lost controversially, he would have won gold medal. So Floyd Mayweather, I think, is going to possibly beat Amir Khan by TKO because of just his accuracy and his ability to land these punches square on the chin of his opponents. And Amir Khan, again, he has not that great a chin compared to all these other guys in his category. So I think Floyd Mayweather will be able to take advantage of that and pull out a win by TKO. Because Amir Khan, I think his biggest weakness is his chin and his ability to get hit on it on constant basis, where he likes to turn things into a war, and turning things into a war with Floyd Mayweather is not good. Amir Khan might win, 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds if he's lucky, just like some people sometimes do. Victor Ortiz won 1 round here in the fight against Floyd Mayweather. So did I feel what's his name? Robert Guerrero won 1 round. So everybody who fights Floyd Mayweather, they get that chance to win 1 round. But Amir Khan, I feel he could win 2, possibly 3, until Floyd Mayweather figures him out and demolishes him, just like Floyd Mayweather does with most of his opponents. So that's my prediction. That's my analysis, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me out. And I just want to wish you guys a good night. God bless, and thanks again for stopping by. Comment, leave a like. God bless. Good night.